How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TRM podcast. And I am very excited to have a dear friend, colleague, business partner, extraordinaire in systems engineering and ninja. He's also not far from me right now, by the way. And the man himself, Laurent Decarie. How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm actually down here in Cayman with you. I'm just upstairs. You're in your office. I'm in the master room that you were so kind to let me use during my stay. So I'm blessed, man. I'm grateful. It's been a good time, and I look forward to providing tons of value on this podcast for sure.
You know, it's funny, man. We've had so many great times to go over even TRM systems, and brain dump and strategize and hang out, in the course of the last week and a half. And so many things have come out of this. It's funny when you actually kind of get together and learn and kind of go through things. But I want to open up kind of this whole talk today on this team thing, because, recently, maybe like 5-6 months ago, you actually hired your first person in the TRM engine, and it grew now to 3 people, and TRM has grown, to multiple people as well. And there's just so much gold, I think, that we can share from our stories and our lessons that members are going to benefit from in this journey.
I agree. If you're listening to this, basically, I used to be a TRM client, and I was just so good with technology that, eventually it just made sense for me to help out other coaches. And I've been help them out specifically with their systems. And eventually, Mathew was like, hey, go help out this coach, go help out this coach. So I got very busy doing that. So I ended up just taking the role, right, of being the TRM tech engineer. I was the go-to. And now, we've created like this little department for me, the TRM engine, which is like all about systems. And you're right, man, like 6 months ago, I hired my first assistant. His name is Rafi. And that was 6 months back. It was my first time even hiring an assistant. It was awesome. And now I'm actually at 3 assistants. So there's quite some nuggets that I got along the way as far as team building, as far as, how to structure your team, how to properly delegate some tasks. So and lots and lots of nuggets that I'm looking forward to sharing on this episode with you, man. So thank you for your trust. Thanks for that opportunity to be, to share with you, and to anyone who's listening. If you're in your car, if you're just on the walking on a treadmill or something, you're gonna love it.
Take us through, Laurent, that first hire. Because I think a lot of our coaches in TRM, they but they almost like have that fear of that first hire, whether it's a VA, their first coach. Take us through your experience on your first hire.
You bet. So the way I met Rafi was actually through serving our clients. So we had a client, and this client basically reached out to me and told me, hey, I want to train an assistant. I want him to build funnels. I want him to build websites for us, right? So then I actually said, hey, awesome. I'll hop on a couple of calls with your new assistant, just train him up and so on and so forth. It's going to cost this amount and whatnot. Then she agreed. She was like, all right, let's do it. So I started coaching Rafi on how to build funnels. And then there were just so many funnels we could build inside her account, right? So at some point I was like, well, hey, if I'm to train this guy, I'm going to see if I can get him on board my team, and get him to see if it's okay with our client naturally to keep training him and eventually make him an official part of the team. And at first it was like, 5-10 hours I needed, help from him. So she agreed. She said, yeah, that's fine. As long as, he's still prolific at working with me. Then I said, yeah, that's fine. If anything, he'll get better at working for you because of how I'm going to train him and so on. But then as we grew, as I started training him and so on, he was able to start helping out some more of our clients and so on. So to get back to your question, it's like, how did I find this hire? Well, it just fell into my lap, really, right? Mm. And I had so much fun just training him and coaching him. He was so coachable, willing to learn, willing to be of service, that I ended up hiring him. And through this, well, I learned a lot about how to delegate, how to properly issue commands to someone when you need something from them. If you want a website, give them specific steps, specific little details that you want to make sure are perfect. And just going like through that journey of coaching him was awesome. And it led me to hire two more team members, right? So and it's funny because one of them is his brother, right? Raymart. So Raymart takes care of support in the TRM engine. He's all about, he's our support specialist. That's the role I created for him. And we'll talk about roles in a minute. And basically what I did to onboard him was actually I created a full-fledged membership course, right? So it was like, okay, I'm going to onboard this new team member, and I'm going to have him go through this course that I made for him, how to be the best support specialist in our company. And then he just went through the course, absorbed all the knowledge, and then came back to me when he had questions, started executing. And we just went from there. And to see like him get solidified in that role was amazing. And now the other team member I have her name is Nikki. She's actually Rafi's wife. So they're all Carlos, right? So Rafi, Carlos, all that. And she's my executive assistant. She takes care of my emails and so on and so forth. So that's kind of my team structure at the moment. And the flow is very good. I think if you want, I can like share maybe a couple nuggets on what's essential when building a team, what trainers should look for, what they should look out for when building a team. Should I crack into that? Would you like it?
Let's kind of cover that one piece. If we can almost look at what you have there and how it can, that one tip that can really relate to our trainers who are going for their first hire. What will be their first big step to make sure that they have in place for that first hire?
Great question. I would say understanding the idea behind hiring someone. The way I see hiring a new team member is pretty much the same way I see making a sale with a new client, right? So the process is pretty similar. So, the same way you're going to have a sales consult with a client, you're going to have an interview, right? You're going to want to know if they're a good fit, right? So then you'll want to audit their personality, right? Their values. You want to ask them key questions about, their outlook on life. You want to audit whether they're coachable, willing to learn, willing to put in the work. The same way you would for a client, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's kind of an approval process, right? Okay, I do want to work with you. Awesome. So you select them. And then there's kind of this sale moment where you make the offer where it's like, hey, here's the payment structure. Here's how it's going to work. And then from there, if everything clicks, if it's a good fit for them, it's a good fit for you, then you basically onboard them to your system, right? To your service, you bring them through your experience of what it's like to be a team member in your company, right? So really just understanding the fundamentals of what the process is like when hiring someone, I think is a good first start, right? So if you can picture your new team member's journey, just like it's a new client's journey, right? Mm-hmm. Just an individual, right? That's entering your ecosystem, and you want to make sure they're all set, they're taken care of. I think is a good place to start right here.
100%, man. And it's funny because hiring can look at multiple ways, right? Because, obviously right now we're kind of talking about our trainers and how this can relate to, what you've done with, Rafi, Raymart, and Nikki. But it also can go back into, maybe you have staff at your front desk at a gym, or you have trainers at your gym. And of course, those are very similar approaches. But I think one thing that I want to share as a collective and how TRM was built with a team is a few things. One is trust within your people. Number two is providing a vision enough to have them have autonomy in what they want to do. For example, you, Laurent, have done a fantastic job in taking a vision of TRM Engine Systems and building it into this beautiful machine that our clients, and it keeps getting better, by the way, which is phenomenal, right? And then how Jaime and Isaac, how they coach and how they support our clients, and we give them a structure and how, here's how we do our formula of coaching. but they're out there just making magic happen with our client, which is really, really cool. And I think that personally, where some people get stuck, because I've seen this when I ran a beverage company, when I was running bodybuilding shows across Canada, and now TRM, is when people try to be too much of a boss and they get too, I think there's a balance of telling somebody and then suggesting and or directing the person to make it feel like it's their own.
I agree. And I can build up on that very nicely.
Sure.
The mindset I like when thinking of building a team or working with someone in my team is actually, hey, it's not you work for me or, I work. It's not that dynamic. It's actually you and me are working on a system. We're both working on something. So there's never anything to take personal. It always relates back to the system. Hey, this thing in front of us that we're working on, there's something we need to fix, for example. Then it becomes this very fun dynamic where it's like, instead of like, oh, you did something wrong, it's like, oh no, there's something wrong with the way we are doing things, with the system itself. Now let's update it, right? Let's go through the documents. Oh, okay, I think that step we could do different. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's true. So that prevents you as the team leader from falling into this trap of like feeling like, oh, you need to boss them around or so on. It kind of cancels and breaks down this dynamic, this boss employee dynamic, and it rather builds a very nice team spirit, esprit de corps oriented team, which actually is amazing. So then afterwards, once you understand this mindset, all you have to do is just find people who want to contribute to that system that you're working on, and get their buy-in on showing them like, hey, this is amazing. Let's build it together. So I truly, I agree with you when you say like, it's easy to fall in that boss / employee dynamic. And that's something I've never felt in working with TRM from anyone actually. And that's what makes it so pleasant to actually work in this company. So yeah, basically for the listeners, if you really develop this mindset and just create this enthusiasm around what you got going on, I think you'll never feel like a boss. You'll just feel like an absolute leader, and then you'll just lead the way in keeping the steady work on the business there.
That was really well put, Laurent. Actually, really well put. And I really kind of thank you for sharing about your experience and obviously growing in TRM, because it really kind of provides that raw example of what you've actually gone through, from us meeting at a gym and going through as a client, and then finding where you really shine and where your passion was. And now, of course, having this big, massive role in the company, and we're just really kind of getting warmed up for the big things to come in the future. But I want to talk about our leaders for a second as well, our leaders, because I think that one of the things I'm sure you and I both feel equally on this, Laurent, is our leadership team is amazing. It's just full of winners and amazing human beings. And it's funny because people always think sometimes, well, you need to I'll be very transparent, dangle carrots and give a bunch of other things to bring them in and keep them in. I'm like, no, actually, it's really about caring for people and making them feel valued and recognizing them as as special human beings where they can add value to others, and serve them. So our leadership team, are leaders for a reason, and they follow our 5 core values, right? But they also bring a ton of value to our clients and to us and to me and to both of us. But I think that's where we talk about, how do you keep a team? Well, it's about really taking care of your team and listening to them. And you're going to go through bumps and you're going to go through challenges. It's like a marriage, man, right? And if you didn't have challenges, you wouldn't grow. So, but it's really about how can you get better in communicating and then absorbing that, and then just being real with people as you're building the business.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's the question is how can you build this environment where people come in, join your team, and actually want to contribute? They just want to give, right? So one thing that you do in TRM, to use that as an example, is that you really give those leaders, an opportunity to give back, right? So in giving back, in teaching, you can learn a lot as well. So then it just becomes this circle of abundance where it's like, hey, I'm going to give tips, but I'm also going to get some, right? And the leaders are also TRM clients, right? So they benefit from it, they learn from it, they implement new things in their businesses that get them results. We help them with systems, and they just love it so much that they're just, they want to give back to the community, and putting them in that position of leadership gives them that opportunity. And to me, it goes back to this fundamental principle where it's like, go where you're celebrated, right? People come to TRM because they feel like they're celebrated, right? And they want to give back to TRM because they feel celebrated and they want to celebrate others. So it creates that upward spiral of just sharing wins, of sharing challenges, and just finding solutions to plow through those challenges and come out successful. Now, now the question is, how can our listeners do the same in their business, right? So, and especially when it comes to team building, how do you come up with, build this environment and then onboard people inside this environment and keep it going up, So if I may, I'll keep going on this tangent. I kind of like it. So to me, it's really two things. You want to have rigid systems. So a strict documented way of doing things, nearly like to a point where you can say, hey, this booklet or like this documentation or this system, this is how we do business here. Okay, those are the steps to onboarding a client. Those are the steps to checking in with a client. Those are the steps to booking a sales consultations. That's how we do it, right? This system is very rigid, right? Naturally, it can evolve, it can grow, we can rebuild it and so on. Mm-hmm. But then you want to have this human element, right? Which is the coaching side of things, which is the communication side of things, the helping that other person grow and evolve and burn the fat and get in shape side of thing, right? And this needs to be a bit more flexible, right? Because you're dealing with human beings, right? So there are processes that are always going to be the same, right? And if you keep them the same and consistent, it's going to make your client and team experience a consistent experience, right? Whereas the human side of things, well, human change, humans have emotions, humans go through things, right? So you need to be more flexible. So if you have like that great balance of the two, you have systems to fall back on, but you also have this flexible approach to your clients where you can adapt to them based on their needs. So you can really like create this amazing, streamlined, yet very fluid client experience and really bring it to the next level.
I love that. It's good. It's so great because you bring this unique strength around systems, and, all of our team has unique strengths, what they do. And I've noticed that every time that I've been able to build a community or a team around, whether it was the Federation or it was the beverage company, or now it's even Super League Canada back in the day, to where TRM is now, I've always realized that, nobody cares until they see how much you care about them. And yes, in a business, you have to make money to grow and be profitable, 110%. But there's a nice act here of, on our coaching call today, our group coaching call, we talked about, the balance of logic and emotion, right? Like what logic and emotion, you both need both to win. The question is the balance of both in leadership and growing a team, and when to have emotion and when to be logical and when to actually use numbers and data to make decisions and not let, emotions get in the way. So that's the thing I've definitely learned the hard way, and also learned through, things I've gone through with my business over the years. But in TRM now, it's like when you get around great growth-minded people with a growth mindset, like you, Laurent, Jaime, Isaac, Tanny, our leaders, Alvin, the rest of the crew, like attracts like, right? So team attract team, but then it is leading by example at the end of the day, right? So if you're, out there and just telling and talking and not actually listening in your leadership only will go so far, right? So it's like the balance of mentor and coach. A mentor is ultimately an instructor or a teacher, right? Where a coach is actually a great listener and helps solve problems. Mm-hmm. So if you can bring in both mentorship and coaching, oh my gosh, it's into leadership. Like not just coaching a client, but coaching and supporting in a team and leading a team. And you can understand those dynamics and use them at appropriate times. You build a great team and you build a great company and great followers that really are loyal because they feel heard, right? And they can contribute. You mentioned the word contribute, Laurent. They can contribute to the greater cause of solving a problem. So one thing I think you and I have a great dynamic on, and that I love about us, is that I say, Laurent, here's our problem, and I don't know how to fix it, but I trust you're going to find a way, So it's like, you'll take the problem from whether it's a client, whether it's a thing in TRM or whatever, and you'll find the how. And that to me it's trust in a leadership team. Same thing with Jaime. Jaime will there are things she can do that I cannot do. Like, Jaime, here's the problem we have to fix on social media. Can you please, here's our goal, but you go give them the plan and she'll go make the plan. So there's a balancing act of rigid systems, but also trust and giving clear direction of what you want from your team and letting them also have ownership in solving the problem.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And yes, trust is so important. And trust is that thing that it's hard to build. It's very easy to break, right? But it's something that's essential in building a team, right? And I think, wow, this can go so many directions. I love it. So one thing I like, just from my experience of working with you is that trust, So at first it was like, you trusted me, but this was all brand new. There was no clear systems department. So it was just like, hey, I'm this guy. I'm this nerdy coach who can actually help with systems. So it was like, okay, send people over to me and I'll help them. But there was no it wasn't systematic. It could have been a situation where, hey, I just grab the clients and I go, or stuff you know what I mean? So you really gave me a shot, and you saw something in me, and you were like, hey, Laurent, I feel like this Laurent guy has my best interest at heart. It does seem like it. That's what he communicates. That's the vibe he conveys to me, right? So I'll give him a shot, right? And then slowly but surely, send me one client, send me two clients, and we really went at a steady pace. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, it was just clear, okay, he really takes that to heart. So that was kind of my probation period. So yeah, and I was just like, man, I love this so much. I love helping that ecosystem, with systems, right? I just loved it so much. So so you just ended up giving me more and more responsibilities as we go. And now, based on this trust, now I actually have my own team that I trust as well. So yeah, and sometimes I'm like, wow, I feel like Mathew, who's giving those opportunities to, I feel like I'm giving back to them everything you gave back to me in terms of trust. And I think you're right, man. That is essential. Yeah. And yeah, so if you're listening to this, basically, trust is important. So, have your systems ready for when you onboard the new coach or the new team member. Make sure they're, they know what to do. Their task list is set, but also give them that probation period. Don't give them everything in their hands right away. And it's like, oh my God, you're set in stone in the company. No, give them those opportunities to prove themselves to you. One thing that's fun for me is when I know I'm going to hire someone for a position, I create this role for them. And I create this membership site with a little video on every task they need to do. And it's like when I'm about to meet someone and I feel like they're going to be a good fit, I already know I'm going to hire them. But still, I hold my horses back and I just go, wait a minute, let's go through the approval process nonetheless. So it gives them that little tension where it's like, oh my God, should I, am I going to get the job and whatnot? And in my head, I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, this person I'm going to hire, given they're a good fit, obviously their values and so on. So far, it's been good. But yeah, so and then I still give them that probation period. Okay, now you're on probation for 3 months. Now I see how well they execute. I see how well they take action. But I also put a lot of responsibility on me for making sure that they have everything they need to have to be able to do the job. Because if they don't have the tools or they don't have the proper commands, they don't know what to do, then they're going to ask me a lot of questions. It's going to take me a lot of time. But if I do the work in advance of showing them, say I'm a fitness coach, showing them how to build a training program in our coaching app, show them how to do a check-in, show them how to email our client database, and so on and so forth. If I do a good job of setting my future employee with a clear list of what they're going to have to do, how to do it, and I just have them watch this video and kind of lean back and just, awesome, you know, that course is doing its job and whatnot, this system I made to train them is good, then it's going to be a lot easier for them. They're going to have a blast of an experience. It's going to be easy. They're going to soak it all up, execute, and take action properly more often than not from the get-go, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You mentioned something actually interesting, Laurent, about the role, right? So you have this clear role, and the role obviously evolved. And whether it was you or your team, I want to mention Tanny for a second, because this is kind of a good example, because Tanny, those of you guys know Tanny in TRM, she's absolutely phenomenal. She did evolve as, 5 hours a week and then 10 hours a week. But here's the thing too, is the role she plays in TRM has changed, in multiple ways in the last 4 years, and continues to refine and get better. So when you hire your team or your people, your role, you may have your defined role, but also don't be scared to look at where their strengths are. And you might find more strengths a couple of years down the road that you never saw. And Isaac actually now is showing some strengths that we are blossoming in beautiful ways. And what he can bring to TRM is just phenomenal. So, and how him and Jaime are mending so beautifully together, like, almost yin and yang. And it's just magic right now. So, but that's things as a leader growing a team that you want to keep conscious toward, and not just, again, again, you're the systems guy. I'm kind of, that's why we're a good balance, Laurent, right? It's like rigid, but also flexible. And then being aware to what is going on with the people, because everyone's human on our team. They're not a robot. So you follow that formula, but then be open, be flexible in learning, because you'll learn people as they grow with you. Like even with my marriage, 17 years almost, I'm learning things about Jen every day. I never even knew of her from 17 years ago. And things about you I learned, Laurent, that I never knew about from 4.5, 5 years ago. So and being able to adapt with that change in your leadership as you grow with them in the business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're working with people, and those people evolve and those people change. So I agree, man. It's like, don't take anything for granted. I mean, look at those individuals, look what their skill sets are, listen to them. Sometimes they're going to bring out some great ideas that can really help you determine, okay, how do I move the needle forward in the business? Well, sometimes we look outside, but sometimes just, hey, look inside what you already have, right? Ask your team members, right? Sometimes it's funny, but we kind of forget. But it's essential to actually look at your team and listen to them, and keep that mindset that, hey, it's not I work here and you work here and no, it's us. We're all working on this beautiful thing, and we're all basically pushing this ball over the summit of the hill together, and it creates that great experience. But I agree, there's always more potential to tap into. I got this cool metaphor I wanted to share with you. Team building.
What do you got, bud?
It's from Ray Dalio. He's great author, owner of an investment company. He wrote the book Principles, and one of his principle is great collaboration feels like playing jazz. Right? Yep. So my twist on it is it feels like playing in a metal band, because I play in a metal band. But that's really the vibe you want to get. It's like, hey, we're all playing in the same band, right? We all have this instrument that we're the master of, and that only us can really master, right? And then, sometimes we're going to play just support pieces. Sometimes we're going to play an epic solo, right? Yeah. But deep down, we all have our strengths, and our unique strengths are what contribute to creating this harmonious experience for the audience, right? And in this harmony, that's where magic happens. That's where results unfold. That's where you get good vibes. You're happy to work somewhere. So if you can find like this, this little taste, right? If you can find what your main instrument is, and look at what the other instruments are that are missing, maybe you'll find a drum player. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a great metaphor here. It's like, when it sounds good, it feels good. It feels like it's carrying. that's the vibe you're getting when you have good flow in your team in general.
I love it, man. I love it. Laurent, pleasure, my man, digesting, sharing all these nuggets, having a fun convo with you, away from actually on a computer screen, actually, which is kind of fun because we've been together pretty much for the last little bit here. So it's kind of fun. This was full of nuggets, guys. Where can they follow you online, Laurent?
You bet. Find me at laurent.dt. So that's LAURENT.dt. Instagram, you can find me on Facebook as well. Or heck, just join TRM and I'll see you on the inside.
That's beautiful, guys. I love it. Laurent, you are a machine. Thank you, my man. You guys can follow us at Trainer Revenue Multiplier, actually at Trainer Revenue Multiplier on the Instagram page, or to our website as well. The same name exists there. Or my Instagram is official Mathew Park. Guys, it was a pleasure to definitely learn from you, Laurent, share some of our nuggets and stories. And of course, as always, have a great time, man. So thank you, buddy. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the episode. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.